Good morning, children. So today again with the same lesson, Ivan's choice and rebellion. Children, in the previous class we have read that the governor came to the conclusion that Ivan has gone to New York. Now, let's see. He rapped out his orders to the driver, sent Aldet's police station, and step on it. Take Jackson and Stephens here, and when you get there, ask for Bell, Chief Inspector Bell. Got that? He rapped out. He ordered. He said loudly to the driver, Dad, drive fast and go to the police station, send Aldets, and take Jackson and Stephens there. Then he asked Jackson and Stephens that on reaching there, you contact Chief Inspector Mr. Bell. He left the stairs to his office 3 at a time, got Bell on the phone immediately and put the facts before him. We'll get him, sir, said Bell. We'll get him, with a bit of luck. Then the governor himself jumped 3 steps of the stair at the same time and went to his office. He called Chief Inspector Mr. Bell and told him everything about the incident. Then Mr. Bell assured him that he would try his level best to catch Evans. The governor sat back and lit a cigarette. Ye gods, what a beautifully laid plan it had all been. What a clever fellow Evans was. Careless leaving that question paper behind. But then they all made their mistakes somewhere along the line. Well, almost all of them. And that's why very shortly Mr. Clever Evans would be back inside doing his once more. After calling Inspector, the governor sat back, he lit a cigarette, and he thought about Evans and Evans's plan. Here governor appreciated Evans and his plan. Governor told that really his plan was a very clever plan, a smart plan, and Evans himself was a very clever person. But like all criminals, he also made a mistake. He also left a clue. He left the question paper. And with the help of that question paper, we are going to catch him. Now, very soon, Mr. Clever, who is Mr. Clever here? Evans, would be brought back to the prison. The phone on his desk erupted in a strident burst, and Superintendent Carter informed him that McLeary had spotted Evans driving up along Eastfield Way. They had got the number of the car all right and had given chase immediately, but had lost him at the Haddington roundabout. He must have doubled back into the city. The phone on his desk erupted. The phone on his desk rang in a harsh and loud sound. It was the call of Mr. Carter, the detective superintendent. The detective superintendent Carter told that McLeary had seen Evans's car in Eastfield Way. He also told that they had noted the number of car. They gave a good chase to the car. But after Haddington turned, they couldn't see the car. They couldn't see Evans. Evans vanished. Evans had disappeared from there. governor quietly. No, he is on his way to Newbury. He explained his reasons for believing so and left it at that. It was the police job now, not his. He was just another good for a giggle. Gullible governor, that was all. But the governor told no. He would not have come back to city. He must have gone to Newbury. And why Newbury? Why does he think that he has gone to Newbury? For that, he gave reason. He gave reason that how on the photocopied message he had read the code word and then he had understood that Evans has gone to Newbury. And then the governor thought about himself that people will laugh at him. People will think about him that he is inexperienced, that he is a fool, that he is credulous. He is such a person who can be persuaded easily. Children, he is good forgiver. Means he can be laughed at. Gullible means credulous, who can be persuaded easily. So people will think about him these things. Governor thought. By the way, Carter, I hope you managed to get McLeary to the hospital alive. Then he told Detective Superintendent that Carter, I think you must have dropped McLeary to the hospital. McLeary, you say, yes, there is a person. I don't think there's anyone. Yes, there is. You'll find one of your ambulances picked him up from Elsfield Way above. Oh, Dad, yes, we sent an ambulance, right. But when we got there, the fellow had gone. No one seemed to know where he was. Just vanished, not a sign. He called the accident department and asked about McLeary, but the reply came to him that there was no patient admitted named McLeary. Then the governor told that your ambulance had picked him from Elsfield Way. Then they told that of course they had sent their ambulance, but by the time the ambulance had gone to Elsfield Way, McLeary was not there. He had disappeared. And no one present there told anything about McLeary. But the governor was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with an almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. But the governor was not listening to anything because he had realized the truth. He had understood everything, and when he understood everything, he was greatly shocked. He felt as if someone has given a heavy blow on the back of his neck. A quarter of an hour later, they found the Reverend S. McLeary securely bound and gagged in his study in Broad Street. He had been there, he said, since 8:15 a.m. when two men had called him. A quarter later, after 15 minutes, the governor got the news, found that real McLeary, real invigilator, real person was tied in the study room of his flat of Broad Street. McLeary told that since 8:15 a.m. he had been there in that condition. He told that at 8:15 two persons had come and they had done this thing to him. Children, gag, G-A-G, gag. Gag is verb and noun. Gag actually a piece of cloth which is put over someone's mouth so that he could not speak anything. And when gag is verb, then to put a gag. So he was gagged, means on his mouth a piece of cloth was put so that he could not speak. On whose mouth? On the mouth of McLeary, real McLeary. Enquiries in Newbury throughout the afternoon produced nothing at all, and by tea time, everyone in the prison knew what had happened. It had not been Evans impersonating McLeary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McLeary who had stayed in. Inquiries were made throughout the afternoon in Newbury, but Evans was not found there anywhere. Why? Because children, that photocopied message was only a trick, was only a plan, was only a part of escape plan. Through this message, Evans had tried to divert the mind of the authority so that the authorities would try to search him here and there and he would be hidden somewhere else. So he had not gone to New York. And by tea time, everybody in the prison, everyone in the prison had come to know the truth, had realized the truth. What was the truth? The truth was that the person injured in Evans's cell, in the guise of McLeary, who had gone out of cell in the guise of McLeary, was Evans's man. He was not a real McLeary. That was the truth, and by tea time, everybody in the prison had come to know about this truth. The fish and chips were delicious, and after a gentle stroll around the center of Chipping Norton, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. A smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up to the reception desk of the Golden Lion. Children, actually, where had Evans gone? Evans had stayed in a hotel named Golden Lion. Children, in the correction slip, we have heard that Evans had to correct the word golden. No, in the place of golden, he had to write golden. Children, actually, those were the code words so that Evans could understand that in which hotel he had to stay. So he had stayed in the hotel Golden Lion. And after eating fish and chips, he took a gentle walk here around the center of Chipping Norton. And after that, he went back to hotel because he wanted to go to bed earlier that night. A smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked out to the reception desk of the Golden Lion. Earlier, he had put on a bubble hat, filthy bubble hat, you remember, but now he had put on a smart new hat, and this hat had concealed, hidden his closely cropped hair. Still, he had put on this hat, With this hat, he went to the reception desk to collect his key. It would take a good while for his hair to regain its former glories, but what the hell did that matter? He was out again, wasn't he? Ivan says that it would take time for his hair to grow. Children, he had cropped his hair. He had cut his hair. Why? Because McLeary's hair was short. So, as he wanted to look like McLeary, so he had cropped his hair very short. So now he says that it would take time for his hair to grow. But no matter. He has no worry for that. He doesn't bother. Why? Because his plan was successful. He wanted to escape and he had already escaped. And that was the main thing. A bit of bad luck that when Jackson had killed his seizures, White had meant a long and tricky operation with his only razor blade the previous night. But he had had his good luck too. Just think if Jackson had made him take his bubble hat off. Phew, that really had been a close call. Still, old Jackson was such a bad fellow. Then he says, really, he had his bad luck. When Jackson, the previous evening means the evening before the exam, had removed his seizures from his cell, and it was a tough task for him. It was a time-taking task for him, very difficult task for him to cut his hair with a razor. But again he thinks that it was his good luck when Jackson had allowed him to put on his bubble hat. Children, what is bubble? A round ball attached to the hat. So he had put on his filthy bubble hat, and when he requested Jackson, Jackson had allowed him to put on that hat. So he says that it was his good luck. Because if Jackson could not allow him for that, then surely Jackson would have doubt to see his close cropped hair, and definitely then his plan could not be successful. He could not have escaped. So it was his good luck. That really he had been a close call. So he had a narrow escape. Old Jackson was such a bad fellow. So he said that Jackson was not a bad fellow. Not such a bad fellow. He is being a senior officer of D wing, of his wing. Jackson was his enemy. There was enmity between them. But still Jackson allowed him to put on that hat. So he said that Jackson was not such a bad fellow. Children, generally the authorities have some compassion, sympathy for the criminal. And the criminals take the advantage of this sympathy. And finally, they liberate them. They free them. One of the worst things, funny really, had been the beard. He had always been allergic to sticking plaster, and even now his chin was irritatingly sore and red. And he says that when he was in guise of McLeary, then one of the worst things for him was that he had a stuck black beard like him. With the help of a sticky substance, a sticking plaster, Why was it this worst thing for him? Because Evans was allergic to any sticking plaster. He says that till now his chin was sore. Sore means painful, hurting and red. The receptionist was the same girl who had booked him in, but the change was definitely for the better. As he collected his key, he gave her his best smile, told her he wouldn't be bothering with breakfast, ordered the Daily Express, and asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day. When he went to reception desk to collect his key, he found that the receptionist was changed. But this new receptionist was more beautiful than that. So it was not bad, the change was not bad. He gave her a smile and he told the receptionist that tomorrow morning he was not going to take any breakfast. He ordered one newspaper, the Daily Express, and he told the receptionist that she would wake him up at 6:45 a.m. by giving a call. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day. Then he thought, because tomorrow would be a very busy day for you. Children, that's all.